There we go. So we're given both graphs. This is what we would normally do. In order to normally do this, we would have to know what we're multiplying by and then what we're moving by. Unfortunately, since two things have happened, it's not easily seen mentally what happened. How did I go from 0 to negative 2? That also changes me from 2 to 0. Well, maybe that one doesn't look too bad. It looks like it would work if I just went 2 down. But how do I go from 8 to 0 but not change this one? What would I do mathematically for that? Not as easy to see. So the method that we used the other day was where we looked at the horizontal distances and the vertical distances to find the stretches and compressions. So we need to first find and we do that by looking at the horizontal distances and the vertical distances. We look at the original horizontal distance on our red graph from A to B. If you went from A, which has an x value of 0, to B, which has an x value of 2, do you see that the horizontal distance between A and B is 2? On A prime to B prime, it's at minus 2 to 0. Its distance is also 2. What did you have to multiply 2 by to get to 2? The only thing you could do is multiply by 1. So your x values haven't changed. And that probably makes sense that, oh, this isn't going to change. I could see the pattern of going down by 2 because nothing changed horizontally. But when I go to the vertical distances, there we go. When we go to the vertical distances, when we look at A to B vertically, A is up here, B is down here. I've gone down 16, so I'm going to show that with negative 16. And A prime to B prime, on the image, the vertical distance, I'm at 0. I go down to negative 8, negative 8. What kind of multiplication takes you from negative 16 to negative 8? You'd multiply your y values by a positive half, because negative 8 is half of 16. This part tells us, and I'm going to put just a little reminder, we figured this out first. That's a little 1 with the circle. That does not look like a 1 with the circle. The first thing we figured out was that the x values got multiplied by 1, which I wouldn't have to write, and the y values by a half. If I know that, can you see that I can fill in the next two dots, the next point? I could multiply x by 1. That's going to keep this 0, keep this 2. I can multiply y by a half. That's going to change this to 4 and this to negative 4. And now you can figure this out second. How do I go from 0 to minus 2 and 2 to minus 2 to 0? I would have to go 2 to the left. How do I go from 4 down to 0? And from negative 4 down to negative 8? I have to go 4 down. And so that step of looking at horizontal distances, vertical distances, was very important. I'll write the image here, but I'll go over it when we start class tomorrow. So the equation then, putting all of this together, in terms of f, outside the function would be a half. Inside the function, we have 2 to the left and 4 down. And question for practice is number 9.